Last week when I had recommended reference books and question bank books for ICSE Class 10 students, many of you actually asked me what about CBSE Class 10, right? And I do believe that the challenge is much greater for CBSE Class 10 students in the 2021 board examination because the format has changed dramatically. You will now have to answer 13 questions in 3 hours for 80 marks, and I do believe that because of this new format, all of you actually need a lot more practice in getting used to this particular format, and there is a lot of change in the manner in which the multiple choice questions, the MCQs, are asked. Okay, now in fact yesterday I was speaking to a senior of mine from college who is a senior English teacher at a prominent school in New Delhi, and she told me that if students are going to the examination in 2021 board exams having gone through only the summary of the poem or the story, the kind that many YouTube channels put out, it won't work anymore from 2021 onwards. Two other points that I discovered after going through the sample paper that CBSE put out recently is that there are going to be no MCQs which are going to be straightforward in nature, that you read the paragraph or whatever content is provided and the answers would be all there. No, it's not going to be the case anymore. Now you will be tested on how you infer and interpret, understand and interpret the content that is given in the examination paper, which means that you need to understand each poem, each story, and also in the comprehension, the passage you need to understand very well, and I will tell you with the help of examples how the questions are now going to be asked. Also, if you are going to understand a particular poem or story in a regional language, in any of the vernacular language, be it Hindi or Tamil or Marathi or Bengali, it would pose a problem because the paper is now going to test you on how well you understand each and every word in the context where it is actually used. Okay, so just knowing the meaning may not be enough, you also need to know the context of that particular word in that particular passage. So in the time that you have between now and the examination, whenever they are held in 2021, try to understand all the poems and stories in simple English. In simple English, trust me, I'm saying this in your best interest, it will really help you in the examination. Okay, now for the book which I have found to be the best in the market for CBSE Class 10 students is this one published by EduCart. Okay, this one is bought by EduCart. This is the sample question papers for CBSE Class 10 students. The USP of the book, if I may point out, is a fact that they have put on the front cover. Obviously, it is something to be proud of. It says, fact, last year 40% of CBSE board paper came from the EduCart sample papers book. And if that's really the case, that's pretty commendable. Okay. So, in order to check whether this fact is true and also how good the entire sample papers are in the context of the change of format, I went through this book in great detail for the past many details. So, let's first look at what exactly it contains. Now, it says right at on the cover, there are 10 solved sample papers, also 3 self-assessment sample papers. So, you have enough material for you to test yourself on in the new format. It also explains to you all the different types of MCQs that you could be asked in the examinations, and also works out a strategy for you in order to tackle them. That will be very useful, and I would say that's pretty effective. Now, let me explain how this actually works as far as this particular book by EduCart is concerned. Now, you need to understand what kind of MCQs you will get now in the 2021 examination and beyond. Fact versus opinion, that's one kind of MCQ. Picture based MCQs, code based MCQs, tenses based MCQs. And they will need you to analyze and understand the questions in depth, also the passages that you answer. And therefore, for this, sample question papers like this for you to practice ahead of the examination is an absolute must. Okay, let me take an example for you to just understand what I'm really talking about. Let me just take a passage in one of the sample papers. Now, this particular passage is about Marie Curie, okay, the scientist. And it talks about what she did from the time she was born in 1867 in Poland, the kind of problems that she faced, the fact that her husband died, okay, and the fact that she herself, after receiving the Nobel Prize for Chemistry in 1911, because of her long exposure to radium inside the laboratory, she kind of succumbed to a fatal illness as a result of all that radiation. Now, the kind of questions in earlier years, what your seniors got would be very straightforward. If you understood, if you saw the passage, the answers would all be there in the passage. So, all you needed to do was to only read the passage very carefully, not anymore. Let me see, one of the questions is, in the line, she defiantly left Poland. The word defiantly does not refer to, and you have been given 4 choices. So, which means that here you will read, determined to receive a higher education, she defiantly left Poland and in 1891 entered the Sorbonne, a French university, where she earned her master's degree and a doctorate in physics. Now, you need to know, while you can try to infer, even if you have never heard of the word defiant before and do not know its meaning, you may try to understand the meaning from the passage, but you look at the choice of questions, the options that have been given now: coldly, challenging, resistant, and openly. Each one of them is a little close, and you need to choose the one which does not refer to, which does not mean defiantly. Okay, so that is how you are going to be tested this time in the examination, where you need to know the meanings very carefully. Okay, so out here it will be D, that is openly, which is the correct meaning, which means that you need to know the meaning of defiantly well, and also to ensure that you pick up the right word, and each one carries 1 mark. Let's look at another question from this one. Mary became aggrieved, and this is something even more challenging, became aggrieved when she found that. Now, most people will start looking for, why for the word aggrieved in the paragraph, but the word aggrieved is not given. The word given is disgruntled. Okay, now disgruntled and aggrieved are more or less close to each other. Basically means a state of being unhappy, and that's where you need to know. For you to answer this question, you should know the meaning of the word aggrieved, then see which word is closest to aggrieved, and then look at which is the right option for something like this. Which is why I say you need this kind of sample paper, so that you are better prepared for the 2021 and beyond examination as far as the English paper is concerned. Now, in the MCQs, as I said, there is going to be very subtle difference in the options. So, your level of vocabulary, how you interpret, how you understand, all of that will be tested. There are many questions which are going to be with some kind of cartoon strip, some kind of illustrations also. So, in this particular book, as I just pointed out, you have been kind of instructed, and there are details given on how to identify the correct option, right? And if in 2021 a large number of questions still come from the EduCard, you will be in good hands in that sense. Okay, so this is a big value add, especially when you are not going to get, or you are not getting the kind of personalized attention from your teachers the way you would get in a non-COVID year. I'm sure all of you agree. So, in that sense, this book will really help you in plugging that particular big gap. Since the format has also changed, now there are going to be 2 sections, section A and section B, time management techniques become very important. So, there is an entire table which has been given on how to actually take care of the time management as far as the examination is concerned, how much time you need to devote to which question. There are 13 questions, as I said, which you need to do in 3 hours. So, I do believe that this book is a big value add. I found many of the questions here difficult. So, which means that you can expect that kind of a difficulty level and quotient as far as the 2021 English board examination paper is concerned. All the best to you. God bless you. Thank you very much for watching. The details are given in the description box.